So in last lecture we have seen the welded connection and the design of simple welded connection. In this lecture we are going to see eccentric welded connections. So welcome to course of design of steel structure. I am Mr. S. S. Savule, Assistant Professor, Civil Engineering Department. Now the eccentric welded connection. These are also of two types. So type 1. When the twisting moment is in the plane of the weld, that is, center of gravity of the weld group lies in the line of action of applied load, the weld is subjected to shear and torsion. So here we have the diagram over here. So this is the particularly the flange of the I section or the column, and on which this bracket has been connected on the column flange. So here you can see this weld is provided over here. So what are the forces? Those are coming on the particular weld. So one force is of this particular twisting moment, which is because of the eccentricity. So here we have this much eccentricity over here, this shown over here. So here you can see this applied force is going down and this resisting force is coming up. So they form a couple, and this moment is P into E, that is distance between these two. And to resist we have to form another couple. The we try to rotate the frame in this direction, and to resist it we have to form the movement in this direction. So this is the twisting movement, and again due to this P force, this on this particular weld there is a shear. So this bracket connection type 1 is subjected to shear as well as the torsion. So let M is the twisting moment in Newton per mm, Newton mm. Then P is eccentric load acting over the joint. E is the eccentricity of the load. Then D is effective throat thickness of the weld. L is the length of the fillet weld, that is 2A plus D, as shown in this figure. This is the D and this is the A. So this is 2A plus D. Then D is the depth of the bracket. R is the distance of extreme weld from the center of gravity of the weld group. So here you can see, here we have this weld group. This is weld starts from here and end up to here. So this is the CG of this weld group in this XX direction. So this should be at center. This is YY. So this is somewhat shifted up to in this direction because of this particular weld provided over here. So here this R is nothing but the distance between this extreme weld to the CG of this weld, and theta is the angle of this particular R. Then tau F is the shear stress in the weld. J is the polar moment of inertia of weld group. So by the perpendicular axis theorem, IZZ, that is J equals to IXX plus IYY. So here this J, which is again equals to IZZ, that is polar moment of inertia. So the eccentric rod can be made concentric along with the twisting moment. The weld group is subjected to direct shear stress due to the load P, and the shear stress due to the twisting moment. The resultant stress should not be more than the permissible stress in the weld. So here the weld group is subjected direct shear stress due to load P. As I have told you earlier, because of this P, the direct shear stress will be, because this thing tries to pull it, this thing, try to push this thing down. So obviously this weld group is creating the resisting force in upward direction, and the shear stress due to twisting moment. So we have learned, due to the twisting moments, always there is a generation of this shear stress. So here you can see, when this thing try to rotate this particular frame, so obviously there will be a shear force. Obviously this thing, one second, let me clear this slide. So this thing try to twist this particular connection in this direction, we'll try to rotate like this. So obviously while rotating, we can see there will be a shear force or shear development in this particular connection. So the resulting stress, that is the shear stress because of load P and shear stress due to twisting moment PE, the resulting stress should not be more than the permissible shear stress in the weld. So first we have the direct shear stress, that is tau Vf equals to load divided by effective weld area. So this tau Vf1 is load, that is P, divided by effective area of the weld. So this is P, and effective area of the weld is 2A plus D into T is the throat thickness. Now the shear stress due to the twisting moment. So shear stress due to twisting moment can be computed from the torsion equation. So you have the torsion equation here, that is this twisting moment divided by the moment of inertia equals to shear stress, that is shear stress due to twisting moment divided by the R, that is the distance of this extreme weld from the center of gravity of weld group. So we have this stress equals to T into R divided by J, or tau Vf2 equals to T is converting into P into E into R divided by J. So we have both the stresses. Now the resultant shear stress can be obtained by vectorically, that is tau Vf equals to under root tau Vf1 square plus tau Vf2, here it is 2 square plus 2 tau Vf1 tau Vf2 cos theta, and which should be less than the allowable shear stress, that is 108 Newton per mm square in the weld. Now the design of this kind of connection. In this design, the fillet weld overlap the bracket is plate is assumed. The length of the overlap is assumed. So the length of weld is fixed, and then the throat thickness or the size of weld is computed. So first we are fixing the length of the weld, and then size we are going to compute. If required, the overlap can be readjusted. So if suppose the size is not available, or for higher size also the design is not sufficient, so we can readjust the overlap and obtain the workable size of the weld. However, the size of weld can be also be assumed and the overlap can be computed. But difficulty in calculations will be there, as the center of gravity of the weld of group and Ixx and Iy etc. will be in terms of length. So making the calculations is cumbersome. So the design of connection is done as follows. So here you can see the difficulty. If we assume the uh, size of the weld and then we are going to work, so we will face the difficulty to calculate the center of gravity of the group and even Ixx and Iyy of the weld itself. So it is quite difficult. So instead of that, this method is quite easy, that length of weld we are keeping fixed and then size can be computed. So first step, assume the overlap of the bracket and work out the length of the fillet weld. Compute the distance of the centroid of the weld group from the edge of the bracket plate, let it be the x bar. Compute the polar moment of inertia of the weld group. Then calculate r distance, that is distance of extreme weld from the center of the gravity of the weld group. Compute the shear stress tau Vf1 and tau Vf2 as per given equation in earlier derivation. Then determine the resultant shear stress again from the equation, that is under root tau Vf1 square plus tau Vf2 square plus 2 this tau Vf1 tau Vf2 cos theta, and equate it to the allowable shear stress. So this gives the throat thickness of the weld. Once the weld size throat thickness is found, the weld size can be found with the throat thickness equals to t equals to, that is t equals to k into s, where k is the constant, that is 0.7, and s is the size of the weld. So this is the design of the weld. Now the problem. So problem here we are taking a bracket plate is used to transfer the reaction of the beam to column flange as shown in figure. The bracket plate is connected to the column flange by 6 mm fillet weld. So here the size of weld has been given. Compute the maximum load. Here we are going to compute or evaluate the capacity of the connection. Compute the maximum load placed over the bracket as the distance of say 75 mm from the flange of the column section. So here the distance has been given, that is 75 mm from the flange of the column. This is P. We need to find the P. And here we have the ISHB 300 at 588 Newton per meter. So here we have this length, that is 200 mm, and here it is again 200 mm. So CG is somewhere up here, that is from this edge X bar. So we will find that one. So let P be the load which joint can transfer. So size of the weld has been given, that is 6 mm. Throat thickness T equals to 0.7 into 6, that is 4.2 mm, that is K into S. And X bar is the distance of CG of weld group from the left edge, that is this is the left edge of the bracket plate. So to calculate the X bar, that is this distance, we have to find, or we have to calculate that from this particular edge. So starting with this edge, so 2 into 200 into 4.2, that is first this weld and second this weld, that is the area of this particular welds, that is 2, that is for 2 welds, 200 is the length and 4.2 is the throat thickness into 100 becomes the CG of this two welds, that is the half of this 100. This is the 100 mm. So this is 100 mm, and 200 into 4.2, that is this one, 200 into 4.2, which is again the throat thickness into 0, because we are calculating from this edge itself, so that becomes a this edge, we are calculating from this edge, that left edge of the weld, so that becomes a 0, that is 0. So again the areas, that is 2 into 200 into 4.2 plus 200 plus 4.2. So we are getting X bar over here, that is 6.66.66. So we are getting X bar by using this formula. We are calculated the CG from this particular left edge. Now we are calculating the polar moment of inertia. So here first we'll calculate the IXX, that is moment of inertia about XX axis. So this is the XX axis. So we have the three weld lines 1, 2 and 3. So first we are calculating the moment of inertia of the first weld line. So that is 4.2, that is b into depth is 200 mm, bd cube divided by 12. So this is the b, that is length weld, and this is bd cube by 12 plus 2, that is these two horizontal weld lines. So again here 200 mm is the width, that is b, and 4.2 is the depth, bd cube divided by 12 plus parallaxis theorem, that is ay square. So area is the 200 into 4.2 into 100 square is the y square. So that becomes 1960.2 into 10 raised to 4. So this is, we are calculating about this axis. So this is the 100 mm. Now the IYY. So here again this first weld line, that is vertical weld line. So now we are calculating the about the this YY axis. So 200 is the depth, that is sorry, 200 is the width, that is b into 4.2 cube divided by 12 plus a, that is 200 into 4.2, and y is 66.66. So this is the y distance over here when we are calculating the moment of inertia about this axis. Plus 2 into 4.2. Now this 4.2 is the width here and here, and this is the depth. So 4.2 into 200 cube divided by 12 plus area into 100 minus 66.66. So here we have the CG somewhere over here of these two welds, and weld group CG is over here. So distance between two CGs, that is 100 minus 66.66 square. So we are getting 100 and 1120.12 into 10 raised to 4 mm raised to 4. Now by using perpendicular axis theorem, we are calculating the J, that is IZZ. So Ixx plus Iy, we are getting 3080.32 into 10 raised to 4. R is the distance of extreme weld. So here you can see, we know this is 100 and this is this 200 minus this 66.66. So by using Pythagoras theorem, we can get this r distance. So here we are using that theorem, that is under root 100 square plus 200 minus 66.66 square, we will get 166.67 mm, and the direct shear stress, that is tau f1, that is p divided by this area of the weld, that is 2 into 200 into 4.2 plus 200 into 4.2, that is area of 3 welds. So we are getting here in terms of p, because we have to find the p. So 0.0003968 p Newton per mm square. Same way the shear stress due to twisting moment, that is p into e, this is e. So here we know the distance, that is 200 minus 66 plus this 75. So this is the distance or entire e. So this p into e divided by this j, what we have got here, into this r. So you are getting 0.0011313 p. So this is the shear stress due to twisting moment. So and the cos theta. So again this is cos theta. So cos theta is nothing but this adjacent side divided by the hypotenuse. So this adjacent side divided by hypotenuse, so it is 0.8. So by putting into this resultant's formula under root this direct shear stress due to twisting, 2 into again both the shear stresses into cos theta. So you'll get 1.4658 into 10 raised to minus 3 p. So resultant should does not exist exceed does not exceed 108 Newton per mm square. So we are equating this with the 108. So by equating all this, we'll get P equals to 73,689.95 Newton. So that is 73.68 kilo Newton. So this is the answer of that particular problem. So that way we can find the value of P. So references for today's lecture is Book of Design of Steel Structure by S.K. Duggal. So this is all for today's lecture. Thank you.